So in the last video, we went through the stereo and parallel processing capabilities of the quad Cortex. And as I was doing that, I was using the delays a lot. So I thought it might be useful just to do a quick video on going through all of the delays within the quad Cortex. So obviously we'll be dealing with stereo effects here, so this is best to listen through headphones or with studio monitors. And I have a preset here where I'm just running a dual Mesa Boogie Lone Star preset. Right now I've got no delay and no reverb on it. It sounds like this. So let's add in some delays. So right now what I'm doing is I'm adding the mono and stereo delays for the analog mono, analog stereo, digital mono, digital stereo. You'll notice a lot of the settings are the same. So between the mono and the stereo, the main difference is stereo has a ping pong and it has this width setting, and we'll talk about what those are. Between the digital and the analog, the settings are pretty much identical. The main difference you'll get with the digital is the delay time can go all the way from 7 milliseconds to 6,000 milliseconds, whereas the analog, you can only go from 200 to 1100. So the other thing I'll say is even the delays that are marked as mono, they're mono in effect, but they do not take away from a stereo signal coming into them. So here, let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm gonna turn this one off. I'm gonna leave this stereo effect on. I'm gonna give it a little more time. I'm going to turn on the ping pong effect. Let's turn off this one. And the digital delay, I'm going to turn off the sync, turn this down a little bit. So let's hear here's the ping pong from the analog. So you can hear that. When I turn on the mono digital delay, you'll hear that the ping pong is still going on, even though the digital delay, the mono digital delay, would be going straight down So that's good to keep in mind, that even if you run through a mono delay, it's not going to take away from the stereo signal coming in from either another delay or from a stereo chorus or something like that. Now, we mentioned, let's go here and look at the stereo delay. So the two settings here, one is the ping pong. We just used that and it does what you think it does. It just ping pongs the delay from left to right. The other setting that's available is this width. And so the width, without it on, you really basically just get a mono effect. When you turn it on, what it's doing is it's adding a slight delay between left and right, so you get a little more of a stereo spread. So those are the main differences. The other thing I'll call out, and if even I've done this before, there's a setting here that allows you to look at how much CPU each block is using. So you can see that the amount of kind of color is the amount of CPU it's using. You can see that the stereo effects obviously are using much more CPU than the mono ones. So keep that in mind. If we look at this, the overdrive pedals actually use very little CPU. The amps obviously use a good chunk of CPU, but delays use quite a bit of CPU. So for example, let's say I got rid of all these overdrive pedals. And you would think I just got rid of 3 blocks. I should be able to put this up here. It won't let me do it. This is too much CPU. Even though I got rid of 3 blocks, it's still, there's not enough CPU on lines 1 and 2 for me to drag that delay up there. So keep that in mind. Delays use a lot of CPU power. So let's check out some of the other delays. we'll drag these up and we'll get rid of them. So let's add in the dual delay. You'll notice the dual delay uses a lot of CPU. Because basically, you're running two delays in one. Ping pong delay is using quite a bit. Simple delay, not as much. So, dual delay is basically two delays in one block. So, if you want to run two delays, let's say you want to do, let me turn the other ones off. Let's say you want to do an Andy Timmons kind of thing. So you run like 380, somewhere around there. And the second one, somewhere around 500. And I think we'll leave the rest of it on. So you could get this dual delay. So it's not as flexible as having delays in separate blocks, but if all you want is two delays running, it can work. All right, the ping pong delay, again, does what you think it does. You're ping ponging from left to right. Most of the delays have this capability, most of the stereo delays. So I'm not sure why you would use this one just on its own. It doesn't seem to use that much less CPU. So we'll get rid of that one. And then simple delay is, I mean, again, just what you think it is. It's just a basic kind of and I'm not sure. So there's really not much difference between the stereo and the mono in sound. I don't know why you would use the stereo simple delay. Honestly, I never use the simple delay anyway, but it's there if you need it. And let's see, let's check out the last ones. So you've got the slapback delay. We'll just look at the stereo. And then one that I use pretty often is the tape delay. So let's turn the tape delay off for now. So slapback, again, is what you think it is. It's, a very short delay. Our delay times run from 40 milliseconds to 200 milliseconds. I like it kind of in this 140-ish kind of range. You can ping pong that if you want. There's also a width control in this, so you can turn that up if you'd like. So it's a good way to just kind of get a nice doubling effect on your guitar sound. And then last but not least is the tape delay. So this is a little more complicated in terms of some of the controls. So like some of the other delays, it has a ping pong effect. It does not have a width effect. But it has these two controls, wow and flutter. Flutter, so keep in mind, it's mimicking a tape delay. So this is a delay that's, the old-fashioned delays, it basically puts your signal onto tape and then replay it from tape. So the flutter is like fluttering a tape. So if you turn that all the way up, you can kind of hear it, a warble entering the sound. And a wow is somewhat of a similar thing in terms of just adds a little color to the delays. I like to leave them both, somewhere around 40 to 50%. So maybe I might put the wow at 50, I might put the flutter on, say, 40. Again, just it kind of gives that tape delay color to it. So again, I use this one quite a bit. Keep in mind, tape delay uses a lot of CPU, like the dual delay, because there's a lot of processing to drive this. So I hope this was useful. Play around with the delays, see which ones you like. I tend to use the tape delay most of all. Second is probably the slapback or the stereo analog. I like the stereo analog for kind of clean tones. Kind of, you're going for that Eric Johnson-y kind of clean with that kind of delay. I tend to use the analog stereo. And then I find tape delays work best for kind of distorted sounds and lead tones and things like that. So try them out, see what works best with you, and let me know what you think.